US legislative arm of government is doing the work of Nigerians supposedly legislative arms of government. That is what we are seeing right now. The latest report making round the social media is that US lawmakers propose a new bill on Nigeria demanding for sanctions on Fulani militias and their sponsors, those who are sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria. They even included ex-governor of Kano State. I don't want to mention the name, but this ex-governor of Kano State happens to be a former presidential candidate of one party where their name started with any. US lawmakers introduced new bill on Nigeria, including potential sanctions for Fulani militias. Ex-governor Kwankwaso. United States lawmakers have introduced a new legislation aimed at increasing accountability for human rights abuses in Nigeria, including potential sanctions against Fulani militias and the former Kano State governor. Blah 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 shit. According to the lawmakers, the proposed legislation seeks to strengthen the impact of various US actions in Nigeria. Today, I am proud to introduce the Nigeria Religious Freedom and Accountability Act of 2026 with Rep. Chris Smith, US Representative Riley Moore stated. Moore, a Republican, emphasized the US commitment to global religious freedom, adding, "The US is a Christian nation. As such, we must stand with persecuted Christians around the world. Our legislation will build upon the momentum of President Trump designating Nigeria as a country of particular concern and the recent US-Nigeria Security Framework Agreement," he said, referencing past measures targeting religious persecution and the security cooperation. Legal experts and advocates have highlighted the bill's focus on accountability for specific actors involved in religiously motivated violence. Sean Nelson, Senior Counsel for Global Religious Freedom, praised the bipartisan efforts. Nothing powerhouse team of Rep. Chris Smith and Rep. Riley Moore today introduced a new bill on religious freedom in Nigeria, increasing accountability measures, including sanctions against Fulani militias and the former Kano State Governor Kwankwaso, who introduced Sharia criminal law there. The legislation comes amid growing international attention on the rise for sectarian violence in Nigeria. The bill specifically recommends sanctions against armed groups accused of perpetuating violence and the government figures who have enacted or supported laws that critics say infringe on religious freedom. Observers note that the bill signals a stronger US willingness to tie security and economic cooperation with human rights benchmarks by linking sanctions directly to accountability for abuses. The proposed law could influence how Nigeria addresses religiously motivated actors in the future. The Nigeria Religious Freedom and Accountability Act of 2026 is expected to undergo committee review in the US House of Representatives, with supporters urging quick considerations given the urgency of ongoing religious freedom concerns. Earlier, Sahara reporters reported that United States would deploy 200 troops to Nigeria to provide training and technical support to the country's armed forces, with both governments stressing that the personnel will not participate in direct combat operations. Well, let me just end it here because the reading is getting long and I don't want to prolong the reading. Now, the point is here. US lawmakers, now then they propose bill on behalf of Nigerians. So what exactly is the work of our own lawmakers? Now, they want to propose sanctions against people who gave all these terrorists the wings to fly by enacting a Sharia law. Are you getting me? In their states. Look at what happened in Kwara State that all of us are crying a few days back. What happened? They said that that community refuses to adhere or submit to their own religious supremacy, and they decided to come and massacre them. So now, if you look at the kind of extremism or violence or terrorism happening around Nigeria, you understand that this particular Sharia law engineered it. Are you getting me? Because that is what gave them the mind to go beyond what people are not expecting that it should be happening right now. So what are we talking about? And Nigerian government is cool with it. Our lawmakers are cool with what is happening. They don't want to look at the indices and know where this problem originates from. Do you understand now? So another question is this: does it mean that we now have two nations in one? What exactly is going on? If the North can enact Sharia law and it is working, while we have a law that supersedes bylaws, but we are talking about Sharia law, so how are we going to classify Sharia law? Because I can't call it a bylaw. Do you understand now? Bylaw is different from constitution or the main law, which is the primary law that binds every citizen. So what exactly is going on in this country? And this thing that we're talking about was pioneered by executive arms of government. Their names were mentioned. Are you getting me? So what they're trying to do is to sanction them. Those people that enacted Sharia law in Nigeria, that's exactly what they are going to do. Because if there is a governor in a state that supports Sharia law and it works, remember that is a religious law and it works. Are you telling me that religious extremism, like what happened in Kwara State, they first sent a letter to the community and the community refuses to buy their ideas of religion? The next thing is massacre. Are you telling me that if governors of a state should support such law to exist, it won't lead to what we are seeing today happen in Kwara State? Nigeria is in a very serious problem, but we don't know what we have done to ourselves. So at this point, I am still trying to fathom what is keeping our lawmakers from constituting a panel of investigations against financiers and the supporters of terrorism in Nigeria. This list was made available by United Arab government years back, I think 4 years ago. What have they done about it? They don't want to investigate those who are sponsoring terrorism, who are financing terrorists. The only person that they are now charging for financing terrorists is a former Nigerian Minister of Justice, Abu Salami Abubakar, right? Yeah. Former Nigerian Attorney General, per se. So that is the only man, because maybe the man is an opposition member. I'm not supporting crime. If the man is found guilty, let him face the law. But charging him for sponsoring terrorism is something I don't understand. And remember, this current administration base to charge him for terrorism sponsor or financing is because, according to them, when he was the Attorney General of Federation, a report of terrorist financiers was brought to his table and he fails to act. Now I want to ask this same government led by Tinubu, since you are charging Abubakar, the former Attorney General, for not acting based on the information available on ground on those who sponsor terrorism, what about this current Attorney General of the Federation? What about this current Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi? Yes, sir. We are talking about 2027 election. You are now 3 years in office and you have not even do the same thing that you are accusing another person of not doing. Is that not nepotism? You are charging the former Attorney General for not investigating the sponsors of terrorism in Nigeria, while the same matter is still on. What exactly is the job of this current Minister of Justice appointed by you, Tinubu? Nigeria.